For us to begin to understand our place in the universe, we must first start to understand how we are a part of the universe. To understand how our bodies, our makeup, our minds, our emotions, and our physical selves are, in fact, not only reflections of what is and what has evolved, but directly components of everything that exists. If we begin to explore our physical bodies, we begin to notice that our physicality is part of a layer of experience that we have. All the things that we experience as physical pretty much come down to an experience of mass, matter, weight. Gives us the sense of something tangible when we have something hard to focus on, something solid, versus wind or water or earth. These different things give us different experiences of what the physical is actually about. So when we look at what physicality means, we begin to see that physicality is about mass and our experience of mass. Mass is something that we know is contained within the nucleus of every atom, in the very core. The nucleus of the atom contains within it the basic weight structure that allows us to experience the difference in weight between a gaseous atom or molecule and a more solid atom or molecule like metals such as gold or lead or iron. And these fundamental differences contained in the nucleus of an atom give us the experience of information that tells us the physical properties of something. In the same exact way, the nucleus of every cell in our body contains within it the fundamental assemblage of DNA and chromosomes that gives us our entire physical body's makeup. It gives us the entire experience of what it means to be a physical body, and all the fundamental tools and coding necessary evolved over millennia to allow us to be and interpret and feel and interact with things in the ways that we do. The same way the nucleus of our overall physical experience is our bodies themselves. We are a nucleus of our physical experience. And in the macrocosm, the earth becomes the nucleus of our physical experience in interacting with the universe. These similarities are not just coincidence. They are actually holographic reflections of each layer of what we are and what we experience. It is more than a metaphor, and it begins to go further as we begin to explore the next layer of our consciousness. From our experience of the physical, which doesn't really have to change in time. We know hard as hard. We know air as air. We know water by this way that the liquid moves and feels when we interact with it. Emotionally, however, as we begin to have an experience of our emotions, we realize that we don't actually know the feeling of something until we have felt something different. Whereas a solid object is solid, and we have a direct experience of that in a moment, we need no comparison to it. An emotion like happiness, or joy, or sadness requires a change from that state, from that feeling and that vibration into something else before we can truly understand it. We must experience the vibration or feeling of sadness before we can fully experience and know the feeling of happiness and actually make a distinction between them. So our emotions require a change in time. Similarly, when we go down deep into the microcosm in the same way and look around that nucleus of an atom, we see electrons. electrons forming a field of energy, vibration, electricity. Those electrons change in time. As energy comes into the electrons, they build up, bounce to a higher shell, and release, and that release releases light, waves of light energy or electromagnetic energy, which gives us a perception of different colors. Specifically, whatever vibration is going around every single atom that we witness gives us a direct experience of what color that object is versus other objects. We tell the difference between colors by having a comparison to see the difference in vibration of one color to another. Immediately, you may recognize that there's a similarity there between our perception of colors and how often we use colors to actually describe differences and changes between our emotional field. But this goes further. In the same way that electrons vibrate around the nucleus of an atom, giving us different experiences on one level or another of emotional vibration, so do the spaces around the nucleus of every cell in our body. Around these nucleuses in our cells, we have organelles, and these organelles interpret different chemical signals that travel through our body, receiving both things that help us create activities within our muscles. In glands, those chemical signals in the organelles interpret receiving of a certain chemical vibration and send out a chemical vibration in response. Sodium-potassium pumps in our muscles create the receiving and expressing of muscular movement in our body. All of the different organelles in every cell of our body serve the purpose of interpreting different electromagnetic signals in the forms of either chemicals, or in the case of neurons and our neurological system, electrical impulses to create a response and a change in feeling and movement and activity within each and every one of the cells in our bodies. These are our emotional, energy-moving interpreters within our body.